We kick off Warhead to find out that no matter how things might seem to change, some things just have to remain constant. Janeway will torment her crew, Chakotay cannot achieve orgasm unless telling a parable, and Neelix will rule the mess hall with an iron fist. Tom is pleading to have an advance on replicator rations, which is Neelix's purview because he says so. So we have a graduate from Starfleet Academy, senior officer of the ship, and person who led a collection of miners to victory in a broken shuttle. He is left pleading to someone who shows up for work in pajamas designed by Pete Mondrian. Tom says that he has to, though. It's the anniversary of his first date with Torres, which I'm betting is probably a lie, because if it were true, it means that they spent 6 months fucking in Jeffrey's tubes before they ever went out on a date.
Neelix, you're a saint.
St. Bernard springs to mind, anyway. So he's got everything he needs here to raise Harry's hopes and then dash them. Sorry, pal, these aren't for you. But Harry's got his own big dreams being fulfilled tonight. He's in the big chair now, handling the night shift, because naturally the person who should be in command is the person on this ship whose rank is as low as possible and can still be called an officer. This leads to Harry and the pilot having a disagreement over exactly how serious this is. Neither one can get any close to what it actually should be.
We're on the night shift. Relax.
One of these days, you'll get the call to take the bridge. And maybe then, you'll understand the burden of command.
Alright, let's start with her first. You do realize this is a spaceship and not a Denny's, right? Night is a purely arbitrary concept out here. There's no signs telling Borg cubes or spatial anomalies to show up between 9 and 5 Monday through Friday, right? But Harry, you're not standing on the walls of Gondor hoping to keep the minions of Sauron at bay. If anything serious happens, you have to go wake up Mom and Dad so they can deal with it. They pick up a distress signal and divert to investigate, but this requires an away team, and as I just said, that means having to go wake Dad up. But he's so proud of his little Harry, he decides that he'll let him lead the away team so he can get his merit badge.
Who's leading the mission? You're looking at him. Really?
I had no idea Lieutenant Thompson was a man. I meant me. You? I had no idea you were... I'm a man! I was going to say ready to lead, but on the other matter, those technically have to drop before you qualify. The two beam down along with a gold shirt. Yeah, I'm sure he's not nervous about being the only non-main character here on Harry's first command away mission, no less. But they find a small device embedded in the rock with evidence of bioneural components. Turns out this is some kind of artificial life form, which speaks to the Doctor in R2-D2 fashion, and is distressed and confused. The Doctor wants to beam it aboard, but Harry says they have to be careful, they don't know what this thing is. So the Doctor plays the race card and says even if it's not flesh and blood, they have to beam it up. So Janeway asks the opinion of the away team leader, and Harry reluctantly agrees to take it up, but they have to have some security precautions.
How's our patient? Complicated. It uses bioneural circuitry to mimic humanoid synaptic functions.
But its memory core is damaged. It's suffering from a technological form of amnesia.
Any theories as to what it might be?
No, none whatsoever. That's why we placed it right next to the warp core, where we put all of our dangerous and unknown doohickeys. There's supposed to be another one, so Seven will be in charge of searching for it while the Doctor explains this to the device, that it is a device. It seems that it thinks it's a flesh and blood person with arms and legs and all of that, which opens up intriguing ideas for story possibilities of why exactly the machine would think that it is, by default, an organic being of such composition. But I'm afraid this is Voyager, so the only intriguing ideas we have are those that have already been done before. Well, Seven and Janeway have found the remains of the companion device to this one, scattered around the edges of a massive crater caused by a WMD going off, meaning this thing is actually a self-aware bomb. And that calls for a visit to the magic meeting room. The Doctor pleads that they have to do something to help it, despite the fact that it could destroy them in an instant.
The device is extremely complex. One error and we'd risk detonation.
Saving a life often entails risk.
Doing anything on this ship entails risk. This is a ship that has fail-safes fail by design. So Janeway figures they'll go ahead with working on it on the ship. Not that she'd have any use for an extremely powerful self-guided missile that can be cowed into submission. No, sir. So they haul it over to sickbay to work on trying to remove the explosive capability while leaving the intelligence intact. Well, the obvious then happens, so much so that even the crew saw it coming from a mile away. Yes, the thing is going to blow itself up. And as the audience saw it coming a mile away, The moment the device arms itself, they lose their transporter lock, and as we should all know by now, contingency plans are for people who give a shit. So, on the fly, Janeway has Torres try an EM pulse to take it offline, which sorta works. It disables the boom boom, but during the process, the bomb's intelligence takes over the Doctor's holomatrix form. And as we all know, artificial intelligences can take over ship functions easily and understand precisely how they work. So it disconnects the comms and locks them in while it broods, convinced that they want to stop it from completing its mission.
If you try to stop me again, I'll detonate. Your ship and everyone on it will be destroyed.
Oh man, if I had a nickel for every time someone said that, I could afford to give a crap.
Once we've reached the system, you'll transport me to my target.
We won't help you wage war. This crew has a prime directive that forbids us to interfere in the affairs of other species.
You've already interfered.
Yeah, there was that whole "we're already involved" that justified stranding you guys in the first place. I figured that was part of the PD, was it not? I didn't like having to strand myself in the process, but you can't make an omelet without breaking the will of the eggs. Faced with having the ship blown up or helping someone else get blown up, Janeway chooses the latter and starts heading for the target. But she plans to outsmart the smart bomb, which is probably Michael Taylor's line since he wrote Outthink the Think Tank 5 episodes earlier.
Commander, I think you should take a look at this.
But you can't out Neelix the Hedgehog. What is it? It's my sperm sample. Doesn't it look low? He picked up this enhanced high-tech pepper grinder or whatever it is from a trader recently, and the tech is the same general idea as the smart bomb. So he suggests talking to him to see if there's any idea on what to do about it. It's an idea, unlike Torres, which is to disrupt the holographic projection systems in sickbay, despite the fact that the Doctor is wearing the mobile emitter, so he would be completely unaffected by that. Harry's plan is even worse, though. Do nothing, because he feels like an idiot that his first real command decision was to put the ship in danger of either launching Armageddon or blowing up the ship. Well, it shouldn't come as a surprise. So far this season, Harry had unsafe sex with an alien in The Disease, helped the Doctor become aware his memory had been tampered with in Latent Image that nearly drove to his program to collapse, tried to get Voyager home in Timeless and instead killed everyone, helped the Doctor again in Nothing Human by creating a simulation of a war criminal. Even Harry's doppelganger in Course Oblivion managed to lead his people to their own extermination. Harry bringing a bomb on board the ship is not only consistent, it should be expected. But eventually, Harry figures he can talk the bomb into not going through with this, and admittedly the fact that he's talked himself out of beaming into space regularly gives him some first-hand pointers on stopping a suicide bomber. How's that go?
Now get out before I'm forced to harm you!
You'll have to get in line, buddy. Meanwhile, we have Neelix's plan, hooking up with the merchant.
You've deactivated your comm system?
And reinforce the shielding in this section. We won't be overheard.
I'd have more faith in your security precautions if you weren't already at the mercy of this weapon.
Truth hurts, don't it? The merchant's transporter employs a dampening system that could be used to deal with it, though. But there's the question of what he'll do with it afterwards. He insists that he'll break it down for parts. The last thing he'll do is sell it to someone unscrupulous. I should hope not. What about someone scrupulous? Sure, for 50,000 Quiliads. Done. Sucker. She didn't even haggle. Sucker. Like I have any money. There's no way that he'll be allowed to go on his merry way with a fully intact weapon, so he leaves in a huff. And by huff, I mean opens fire on Voyager, just to get the shields down, though, so that they can grab it. But the bomb starts tapping buttons.
The weapon's sending an antimatter surge back through the transporter beam.
That makes it almost as caustic as regular surge soda. Yep, so thanks to Neelix's help, Voyager's been shot at, and an alien ship of comparable size has been destroyed. Any other contributions you'd like to make? The answer, naturally, is, of course! When you're Neelix, every morning brings a new day of screwing up something you pretend you actually understand. They've put together a plan to fake going through a minefield and use that to justify getting Seven inside to magic away their problems with some nanoprobes.
Medical emergency.
I intend to suffer third-degree plasma burns during our encounter with the mines.
That's where I come in.
Naturally. With your cooking, harming the other members of the crew is second nature by now. Meanwhile, Parabellabamba wants help recovering damaged memory files, and at Harry's prompting, Torres joins them in trying to run disk check or whatever it is the bomb has. It turns out the bomb was launched by mistake along with 33 others. The war's been over for 3 years now. The landing was by order of their commanders to avert starting another one. But the bomb is unwilling to believe that. Either this was done by the enemy, or it's them trying to stop it. But Harry and Torres insist that no one is trying to deceive it. Anyway, their conversation is interrupted by Janeway trying to deceive it. They're faking mind collisions, and Neelix is faking injuries on Seven with a dermal regenerator? No! At best, he's going to give you a tumor, but more likely, you're going to wind up with a testicle growing on the side of your face. Well, the plan backfires. They get her in there and distract the bomb, but when Seven tries to do the nanoprobe trick, she gets zapped for her troubles by its automatic defenses. And just when you thought the day couldn't get any more sphincter tightening, the other 32 bombs show up, wanting to make sure this one hits the essential target it was directed at. And it seems that after all the remarks that they wouldn't cooperate in letting the bomb hit its target, Janeway orders Harry to help the bomb's mind get back in the weapon and go on its merry way with the 32 horsemen of the apocalypse. But Harry insists that they check the confirmation codes to confirm the orders and make sure this is a properly authorized Armageddon. And sure enough, it isn't. The bomb isn't so sure, but Harry does the appeal to your good nature thing and eventually gets it to accept its orders, but the other bombs can't. Once they get within 2 light years of the target, their orders can't be countermanded. So, these people created intelligent life, stuck it in something whose only purpose was to destroy itself, removed the ability to think for themselves, which is the whole point of artificial intelligence, and even prevented them from changing their targets if the situation demanded it. Even Janeway is giving a slow clap at this level of sadism. The bomb decides the only thing to do is to go with them and then detonate, taking all of the others out to avert a war, leading into the coda to discuss the Doctor's sense of guilt, the example that he provided for Harry to use, and the appreciation of the night shift personnel that he got them out of the stupid mess he got them into. Post-episode follow-up. Stupid Neelix moment is the Season 5 continuation of Coffee Martial Law. I have the feeling even when they get back to Earth, Neelix will try to run their replicators. Final score for Warhead is 5 out of 10. I know that's generous compared to the consensus on it, but I would say this is a typical Voyager episode. Harriet was actually put to good use. Picardo gives a fine performance, I think. And I'll even grant that Neelix's mentioning of the traitor was a useful suggestion for once, instead of butting in where he doesn't belong, even if it did wind up leading to unforeseeable disaster. But it's a lot of retreading of familiar territory, and it really overstays its welcome. There seemed a lot of potential to explore new areas with this story, but once again, they insisted on staying with the worn-out ones.